Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, got the good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining to find out a little bit more about RepEAter and the reusable takeout container program in the city of Boulder. My name is Emily Freeman. I am a senior policy advisor on zero waste for the city of Boulder and our climate initiatives department. The city of Boulder has set some aggressive goals around reusable takeout containers. And our goal is to have 50% of restaurants using reusable takeout containers or offering that to their customers by 2023. And to be able to achieve that citywide goal, we realized that we need to partner with a company who has a strong business plan to be able to achieve that. Therefore, we actually applied for a countywide sustainability matching grant. And through a competitive RFP process, we selected RepEAter among a number of different companies because we felt that they had the strongest business model and best setup for restaurants and for customers. So we've been partnering with RepEAter for the last 5 months, and we're very excited about that. PACE is also with Boulder County is also helping us with outreach. And so they also are playing a role in this as well. So we're very excited. We understand that takeout waste is expanding, especially during the pandemic in these times. And we find that this is a really great program that we hope your restaurants will continue to be interested in. So I'm going to pass this off to Ashwin and to Chris, who are the co-founders of RepEAter.
Thanks, Emily. Hello, everyone. My name is Ashwin Ramdas. I'm one of the co-founders of RepEAter. On the call is also Chris as well, Christopher Todd, my fellow co-founder, and we are RepEAter. And essentially what RepEAter is a reusable takeout container service. And our mission is to eliminate the single-use packaging waste that is currently associated with takeout and delivery, with the single-use containers that are being employed for the most part. And what we do is we replace those disposable containers with reusable containers so that diners can get their takeout and delivery without that single-use waste. And our reusable program is the most eco-friendly packaging solution out there. And not only that, we've priced our model to save you about 25% on takeout packaging costs as a thank you for going green. We want to help reduce your packaging costs as well. So that's essentially what RepEAter is, and how RepEAter works is we stock you with our reusable stackable containers. And our containers, they're made from hard plastic, they're microwave safe, they're thermally insulated, and they're stackable so they don't take up a lot of space. So we bring you a stock of these reusable containers. And as customers order from you and request the RepEAter reusable containers, you just pack the food in those containers and then hand them to the customer after tapping a few buttons in our app. And then from there, we kind of take care of the rest of the process. So RepEAter manages the retrieval of the containers. We get the containers back from the customer. We sanitize them in our commercial dish sanitizers, and then we restock you, the restaurants, with more of those freshly cleaned reusable containers and continue the cycle. So we've tried to create our model to make reusable containers as easy to use as single-use packaging. So in the whole process, all you have to do is pack the food in the reusable containers when they're requested, and we kind of take care of managing the inventory, cleaning them, and restocking you with fresh ones. And I mentioned here that you tap a few buttons in the app after giving the food to the customer. So RepEAter is an app-based system where the customer has their version of the app, and for them, it shows them all the participating restaurants where they can get RepEAter reusable containers, and it directs them directly to your current ordering platforms, or it tells the customer where they can go in person to order food in their reusable containers. And on your end, there is a RepEAter Restaurant Manager app. So this is a very quick app to use. All you use the app for is for checking out containers to a customer. So if a customer is ordering from you in person, all you would have to do is select the customer's name from the list as they appear in your current in-person customer list. Once you select that customer, you simply tell us how many containers they're receiving of each type and hit done. And that's essentially it. If the customer is ordering online, they'll pass along their 5-digit RepEAter ID. And then instead of finding the customer in person, you would just type in their ID into the online ordering little field, and then that'll bring up the customer, and then you proceed to tell us how many containers they're getting and hit done. And it's a really simple process that takes about 15 seconds per customer once they've placed their order with you. And I've also created a little video to help show how the customers app and the restaurant manager app kind of work together. I actually might skip that for now because I think what's more important for us to look at is the container options. And so on the next page, I have, oops, let me go to the next slide. Okay, there we go. Yeah, what's more important is what type of containers we offer to our restaurants. So our reusable containers come in 5 sizes. We have first a large 9x9 clamshell. That's perfect for large entrees with multiple dishes in it. If you have sides with your entree, it's perfect for that. Then we also have a medium 9x6, roughly 32-ounce clamshell container, which is great for things like medium-sized salads or noodle dishes. And then we have a small burger-sized 5x5 clamshell, which is great for sides or burgers, as I just mentioned. And then we have a soup container that is a 16-ounce deli-style soup container, which is great for soups and curries. And then a 3-ounce stainless steel sauce container for dressings and any condiments on the side of your meals. So this is our current offering right now. And the pricing for these containers, as I mentioned, we try to price them to be roughly 25% lower than what you currently pay for disposable ware. So the pricing ranges between 12 cents per use from the sauce containers to 20 cents per use for the large containers. And RepEAter only charges you for what you use. So what that means is when we bring you a stock of containers, we don't charge you anything for that stock. We only charge you when a customer actually orders in those containers and you give it to the customer. So if you have a stock that hasn't been touched, you aren't getting charged anything. So it's a kind of a risk-free way for us to start you off with a stock of containers. And so when a container does get used, you get charged per what you use, and that's why the pricing here is listed in terms of per use. So the large container is 20 cents per use, medium is 18 cents per use, and it goes all the way down to 12 cents per use for a sauce container. And as you can see on the left, we have a price comparison. And in most cases, our container prices come in at even more savings than 25% when you compare it to things like compostables. RepEAter's reusable containers are significantly cheaper, and with our mission of being environmentally friendly, they're actually much more eco-friendly than compostables or recyclable containers as well. In addition to our low pricing to begin with, and also our usage pricing, we don't have any subscription fees. We don't have any initial sign-up fees. It's just paying per use for the containers you end up actually using. And then on top of that, RepEAter is free for restaurants till the end of 2021. That's a thank you for being our initial customers. Right now, we have about 10 restaurants on our platform, and we want to bring on as many as possible. And to thank you for joining RepEAter and trying us out, we are making RepEAter free for restaurants till the end of the year. So any containers you use between now and the end of the year, you will not get charged for. Okay, so let me actually go back now to how the app works, because this is kind of the major part of the process on the operations side is using the app. So let's go through that right now. There's 2 ways that customers can order from RepEAter. They can order to order from your restaurant and request RepEAter reusables. They can request RepEAter in person. So the first way they do that is, this is what the customer's app looks like. If they want to order from you in person, all they would do is tap this I'm ordering in person button, and then they would select the restaurant from where they're ordering from. So they would select your restaurant if they're inside your restaurant. And that's it for the customer's end. And once they select your restaurant, that actually brings the customer into your restaurant manager app. So once the customer says that they're ordering from you, they show up in your version of the restaurant manager app. And all you would do, as I mentioned before, is you just select the customer's name and then tally how many containers the customer is receiving and hit done. So it's a very simple two-step process that takes 15 seconds, probably quicker once you get the hang of it. So the other way that customers can ask for a repeater is through your online ordering platforms. So those can be things like Toast, Nosh, any of the delivery platforms, Chow Now, any of the online ordering platforms you have, the customer can use RepEAter or request RepEAter through those avenues. So how that works is the customer, as you can see here, in the customer's version of the app, each customer is assigned this 5-digit RepEAter ID. So all they do is they order from your existing platforms. They go to our app. They can find all the participating restaurants, and then our app actually directly links them to your current ordering platforms. So, for example, Fresh Times. I went a little too quickly, so I'm going to go back a little bit. So here's an example. If the customer is ordering from Fresh Times, for example, they would click Fresh Times in the RepEAter map, and then they would have the options to order for pickup or delivery. And these two buttons down here, they link directly to your ordering platforms. So Fresh Times is Nosh platform. There's a menu item that the customer adds to their order that's called Pack and RepEAter Reusables. Once the customer chooses that option, they just type in that 5-digit RepEAter ID that I mentioned before. And that way, it shows up on the customer's ticket that 1, they have requested reusable containers, and 2, they pass along their 5-digit RepEAter ID. So back to the Restaurant Manager app, with that 5-digit ID, you just type their 5-digit ID into the Restaurant Manager app. You tap Get User, it brings the user up, and then you just proceed to tally how many containers they're receiving, hit done, and that's it. So yeah, that's how it works. It sounds a little bit involved, but once you try it for the first time, it's actually very quick and easy. So that's essentially RepEAter. We don't have a very extensive onboarding process, and we're pretty simple to use. As I mentioned before, we're trying to make this as easy for you to use as single-use containers. So essentially, if you were to say, hey, we wanted to join RepEAter, all we would do is we would bring you a stock of containers, whichever type you want from our 5 options. You tell us which type you want, and we would bring those to you. And then we would just add you to our platform so that customers can start ordering from you. And then the upfront work on your end is you would just have to add the Pack and RepEAter Reusables menu item to all of your online ordering platforms. And that allows customers to request RepEAter Reusables when they're ordering online. And on the right, you can see an example from one of our existing restaurants. They have made this menu item, and that's all the menu item needs to say. And when the customer adds that to their order, they just type in their 5-digit RepEAter ID in the special instructions, and that's really it. So yeah, that's the onboarding process. You tell us which containers you want to use. You download the RepEAter Restaurant Manager app. We'll send you the credentials so that you can log into the Restaurant Manager app, and then you just add the menu item to your order or to your ordering platforms, and that's it. You're ready to go with RepEAter. Yeah, so that's essentially it. And I don't know if there's anyone who has questions right now that they want to ask, but we have some FAQs listed out that we can walk through, but I'll first stop here and see if there are any questions. Okay, I think we'll move on to the FAQs. So some of the questions that we receive from restaurants, some of the more frequent questions we receive is, can this work with our delivery platforms like Nosh and DoorDash and all the other ones that are out there? And the answer is yes. any online ordering platform where you can add a menu item, we are able to work with. So all you have to do is add the Pack and RepEAter Reusables menu item to that platform and enable the item to have a special instructions field, and that's it. We can work with any ordering platform. And we're actually officially partnered with Nosh. So if you are working with Nosh, we like to direct our customers to use Nosh when ordering from you. And yeah, they would just add the Pack and RepEAter Reusables menu item to their order before they check out. Another question we receive from restaurants is, who can actually receive these containers? Can I give them to any of my customers, or do they just have to be RepEAter users? And the answer is, they just have to, you can only give them to RepEAter users. So if a customer does ask for a reusable container, but they're not a member of RepEAter, then we ask you to just politely ask them to download the RepEAter Reusable app and go through the sign up process, which is a very quick process. And after the customer does that, they can start receiving reusables. And a way to check to see if a customer is actually part of RepEAter is to see if they have a 5-digit ID. So if you ask the customer what their 5-digit ID is, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, then they're not a RepEAter user. Or, maybe they don't know how to use the app yet, but that's on our end. But if they don't provide you a 5-digit ID, don't give them reusables. Okay, some other questions we get is, how do I order more containers when I run out? And what's really cool about RepEAter is that we actually monitor your inventory of containers on the back end. So we're able to see when your stock is low. And when you are low, you don't have to notify us or tell us anything. We'll know to restock you the next day with more containers. So yeah, it's less effort on your end. And also because we're local and can restock you very quickly the next day, you don't have to hold a large inventory on hand. A lot of our restaurants right now, they only keep on hand between 20 to 30 RepEAter containers. And when they get low, we bring them more containers the next day so that they don't have to order thousands of containers or make room for thousands of RepEAter containers. We're able to restock them very quickly. And if we do notice that you're moving containers very quickly and running out a lot on a daily basis, we'll start bringing you more containers every time we restock you. And then a couple more FAQs, and then that's it for me. Do the restaurants have to track the containers? And the answer is no. RepEAter will track the containers. We'll take care of getting the containers back from the customer. The restaurant is not responsible for tracking or accounting for the containers once they leave from the restaurant. All you have to do is pack the food in the containers when they're requested. That's it. And along the same lines, the restaurant does not have to clean the containers. RepEAter sanitizes the containers and will only bring you freshly sanitized containers. We won't make you ever interact with dirty containers. And lastly, does the restaurant charge the customer for RepEAter? And their answer is no. RepEAter users are charged through the RepEAter app. So the restaurant does not have to charge anything extra to the customer on the restaurant's end. And that menu item that I mentioned before, that will be on your ordering platform, that should be a free menu item that the customer adds to their order. There shouldn't be any price attached to that. Yeah, so any charging we'll take care of. The restaurant doesn't have to charge the customer anything. And that's kind of it for RepEAter. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, you can email me and Chris. Don't know if I put in our email address, but I will add it to this presentation before we send it out. It's just info@repeater.com. You can email us with any questions, or if you're ready to get started, we're ready to get you started. It only takes us about a day to onboard you, so just let us know. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ashwin. Just want to leave a couple minutes open if anyone has any questions. Or maybe just 30 seconds.
No questions, but thank you. Everybody was pretty interested in this here at Dish Gourmet, and knowing that it's free through the end of 2021, we'll probably give this a go. And I know we have a lot of customers who try and be less wasteful and like take our trays with them to their offices next door. So I think this would be a really good option for us. So thank you.
Yeah, well, we'd love to work with you. Just let us know. I'm here on the call, and I'll send you this presentation, and feel free to email us anytime if you'd like to learn more.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll probably be reaching out end of this week or early next week once I run it by the owner.
Thanks. Awesome.
I'm just kind of curious, how did you hear about RepEAter?
My boss, Colleen, received something from the city of Boulder. I'm not sure from what newsletter she got, but she got the information for a webinar, and she couldn't stay this afternoon to watch it. And she asked if I would do it because she was interested in it. And
awesome.
Yeah, so great. Someone told us.
Sweet. Yeah, and if you have any pointed questions right now, feel free to ask them if anything was unclear, or if you want to sit on it for a little bit. But feel free to ask anything.
I guess just kind of like, I know it's like free to the end of the year, but like I guess you probably wouldn't know, it would depend on how many people are using it, but like kind of an average for monthly cost about, I'm sure it's still way less than what we're paying in compostables right now. So.
Yeah, it's kind of in terms of usage, so it's hard to predict. Yeah, but we know like some of our other restaurants, for example, Fresh Times, they go through quite a few a month. I'd say they go through about maybe 150 containers right now per month. And so they mostly use the large ones. So for them, it costs them about, I think that should be around $30 for containers. And again, we haven't charged them yet. And yeah, it's free till the end of the year, but it would kind of be based on usage. I mean, we kind of wanted to frame it that way because we wanted to take all the risk off of the restaurant to get started. Yeah, so
even the per use cost, I'm looking at it now, I'm pretty sure that per use cost is still less than what a disposable compostable container costs us right now with the supply chain and everything just costs more. So
yeah, and speaking of supply chain, since we're local, we have a big stock of containers. So it's very easy to get containers. You don't have to wait weeks for a shipment to come in. We'll bring you containers the next day when you're running low.
Perfect. And that's awesome. And I really like how kind of like hands-off it is for us, other than just using the app a little bit, making sure we have the 5-digit code, but you guys are taking care of everything, tracking the stock for us. That's really awesome.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. We want to make it as easy for the restaurant as possible.
Just something very quick out of the curiosity, Rebecca, may I ask you, what is your restaurant? Which one is your restaurant?
So I work for Dish Gourmet. Dish Gourmet, we're at 20th and Pearl Street, right by Color Me Mine, down on the east end of Pearl Street. And we have our front of house sandwich shop and stuff like that, where we would use most of these, other than I think like the medium-sized container. The only, like, not saying that you should get a container, but like another container we use a lot of personally are 8-ounce containers, but that wouldn't be, that's like here nor there. We'd probably use a lot of like the 16-ounce soup ones, but.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, right now we don't have an 8-ounce, but we have some restaurants who use the 16-ounce for 8-ounce amounts.
Yeah.
Our customers are very forgiving for that kind of change because, to them, receiving a reusable has a much greater value proposition at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think I've driven by Dish Gourmet many times because Leaf is one of our partners right there on Pearl. And
oh yeah, they're just down the block from us.
Yeah, and here's a list for anyone wondering of our current restaurant partners, and we're looking to onboard as many as possible in addition to this. But in case you were curious to try RepEAter yourself to get a taste of it, here are some locations that you could visit.
And how much does it cost the customer?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, so we do charge the customer a service fee. The service fee is between roughly 25 to 75 cents, depending on the container size. So the sauce, the 3-ounce stainless steel sauce container is about 25 cents, and or is 25 cents, and then the large container is 75 cents.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Ashwin, can you just cover what that charge covers for you guys?
Yeah, of course. So, those two, well, actually, backing up a little bit, Chris and I, when we first, created this model, we wanted to put some of the not burden really, but we wanted to take care of some of the costs on the customer end, so that for the restaurants, it was still cheap to use, because those are our real breadwinners in this space. And so that cost that we do charge to the customer, the 25 cents to 75 cents, that helps us cover all of our operational fees, retrieving the containers, tracking them, sanitizing them, and being able to restock you in a timely fashion. That 75 cent or that 25 to 75 cents that the customer pays does help us cover that portion of our business. Yeah.
I just want to jump in here real quick and mention that we do preload each new user with $3 in their RepEAter wallet. So that essentially covers 2 use cycles. So they get to test it out without, fully committing any of their funds.
Thanks, Chris.
I have a question about RepEAter customers. Like, where do they drop off the containers that they've used?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we have drop-off bins at some of our participating restaurants, and and essentially that's where the customers go to drop off the containers. And we place the bins at our participating restaurants because it helps the customer kind of know where they can go to drop off the containers, and it also helps bring traffic to those restaurants if they have a bin. Fresh Times, for example, they have a lot of return customers and repeat customers because, they'll drop off the container right at Fresh Times, and then since they're already there, they'll place a new order for more food. So, yeah, the bins help bring customers to the restaurants, and they also help us retrieve those containers.
There's also an option for RepEAter to pick up from the customer's home as well.
We actually disabled that for now.
Sorry, I apologize.
Yeah. Oh, no worries, no worries. We disabled that for now just because we wanted to get more volume before we start. Okay. We actually, it was an option for a couple months, and we found that most customers just wanted to drop it off at a bin. We only had, I think, 1 request in a span of 2.5 months, and so we decided to turn that off.
Sounds good. Sorry.
Yeah. No worries. We might bring it back in the future, but for now, it's just dropping it off at the drop-off bins.
Great. Well, on behalf of the Boulder County PACE program, we just want to thank you guys at RepEAter for just having this option to begin with. This is just such a great closed loop system that's also affordable for restaurants. And then, of course, we want to thank our partners at the City of Boulder. And then we wouldn't be here without our local restaurants. So thank you guys so much. And if there's anything PACE can help with, or City of Boulder or Ashwin, please reach out to us, and we'll be sure to get this recording out to you guys shortly. Cool.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Have a great day.
All right. Take care.